What is up, and welcome back to Talking Nutrition. Today, I wanted to get real with you. I wanted to reflect on the last quarter and set the goals for the new quarter, just kind of looking at like how we've been doing so far. I think it's very important to reflect either way on a daily basis, weekly, monthly, definitely yearly. But I feel like the quarter is always a good moment because let's just dive right into it. Like, what goals did you set for yourself all the way back in January, or maybe like even more recently? Let's say the start of this quarter, right? So let's say Q3. Like, what did you say you were gonna do? What about the second quarter? We know that everything is seasonal, right? We want to plan seasonal, but where are you currently at? This is going to be a very direct episode. That's also not meant to give yourself shit, to be honest with you. It's really just like a hey, honest reflection. Where are we at? What's my effort like? Like, what's going well, but also what can I do better? Hey, am I even moving towards my goals right now? Yes or no? And if that's not the case, that is okay. I want you to know that that is okay. And I want you to know that most people worldwide, we know like this is actual, there's statistics based on research that I believe 95 or more percent of people who set a New Year's resolution like will not make it. Now, of course, I'm going to help you be that 5% who is successful. But I also want you to know that you can still start today and be totally cool. Like it doesn't have to be, you know, I set this big goal for 2024 and hey, maybe now you're not going to reach it. Let's say like it was a 10 kilo weight loss goal. Okay, maybe we're not going to be able to if, given that we've not made progress, right? That's okay. But like, what can we do the next 3 months still to work towards that? Let's say we wanted to get a little bit more into performance. Like, have we really pushed? Like, did we get a program? How much effort have we put towards this whole process of learning how to eat healthy and changing my habits? And we've been talking about this on such a regular basis. We know that habits take a long time to cultivate. There's the mindset work. There's so much we got to do to grow. So I want to do a little reflection with you. And these are the actual questions that I ask my clients on a weekly basis. These are the questions that I ask myself every week, every month, every quarter, every year. There's more too, I will say that. So I'm not going to share all of them, but I think the most important ones we're going to cover today, because I want to give you a couple steps, and I actually would love for you to grab a pen and paper, grab your journal, grab whatever you want to do, right? Even your phone. But I think, pen and paper is going to be best for you, or at least speaking from personal experience, like I prefer writing it down. But grab a pen and paper, grab your journal, do whatever you want to do, so that you can, as you listen to this podcast, it's probably going to be a little bit of a shorter one, so that you can write this down and you can actually do something with it. Now, if you would like accountability from me, you can always reach out via Instagram. I'll drop my profile in the show notes. This is no strings attached. This is really just, hey, if you make the effort of DMing me, hey, I'll listen to the podcast. These are my intentions for Q. Not only will I help you be accountable and I'll hold you accountable, I will also check in with you, right? To see if you need any additional support, any questions whatsoever. Remember too that we do have our free Facebook community as well, which is a great place to go to as well for more motivation, for more accountability. And to be honest with you, I mean, there's hundreds of people in there, like pretty much all of those people, right? If not all of those people are going to be on somewhat of a journey themselves, whether that's fitness, whether it's fat loss, muscle gain, whatever it is, right? We all struggle with certain things. And I want you to know there is a place for you to go to if you need more support. It's free, no strings attached. I'll drop that in the show notes too. And let's get into our reflection for the fourth quarter of 2024. To be honest with you, like I'm not even very sure if I love the fact that it's going to be October 1st tomorrow. It's been a crazy year, a year of growth, a year of struggles, challenges, tough times, amazing times. And I want you to check in with yourself, right? It's kind of seeing where you're currently. Taking it all the way back to the start of Q1, January. New year, new you, whatever you want to call it. Some people like to hate on that statement. I don't. You call it whatever it is. You set an intention, a goal. You call it a New Year's resolution. Do whatever you want to do. But usually we go into that new year thinking, hey, like this is really going to be the one. Well, was it so far? Like we're 3 quarters in. Like, was it actually that year? Yes or no? Big question, like a big confronting question too, right? If you think about it, like Q3, there's really a few outcomes. Like there's like, hey, we're getting there. We're reaching goals. Amazing. You're successful. That's what I've seen people with us do over and over again, right? People who started with us in January, they're absolutely killing it right now. And the cool thing is too, that those who are in the fat loss phase are about to do reverse diets, and my light just went off, but are about to go into a reverse diet to then fuel back up to the holiday season. And that being said, let me see if I can quickly plug in my charger for this light, and it's not going to work out. So we're going to have to do it without this time, and that's totally okay. If you're listening on Spotify, there's no issue for you anyway. And let me see if I can actually unplug this one. 1 second, sorry. And that worked. Okay, perfect. Let me see real quick. We are going to be able to get some light, and we are back. Okay, that was pretty quick. Okay, we solved it. That being said, Q3, how did it go? Q2, Q1. There's a few outcomes, like I said, like the people who've been working with us, they're killing it right now. They're moving closer towards the end of their fat loss phase, which is a really nice time this time of the year. Maybe into October, we're going to start, to bring that food up. Maybe November, kind of depending on the person, because of course it is individual, and your periodization plan, which we'll talk about, needs to be based off of you, but also like what's coming up for you. In Q4, we're going to have the holidays. If you're based in the US, you're going to have Thanksgiving. Some of you like celebrating Halloween, right? Sometimes there's a lot of candy at the office, right? Those kind of things. Maybe you're going around with the kids, trick-or-treating. Now we have Christmas coming up, which is huge in Norway. Wherever you're at, wherever you live, know that we are moving into a season that is often really nice for maintenance, for muscle gain, for performing great. And that for a lot of you is likely not going to be about fat loss, at least as we get into the end of November. That gives you a bit of time right now, but I don't necessarily know where you're at. So if you're listening and you're like, hey, I'm not one of those people who's killing it right now. Okay, feel free to reach out. It's okay, right? One of the other outcomes is that, hey, like I had this goal, but it didn't happen. Another outcome, of course, is like that middle ground where, hey, like we've made some progress. Like we didn't really get as much as we wanted to. Maybe we didn't lose as much body fat. Maybe we struggle very much with including social settings or tracking or stress eating or whatever it may be, right? We got injured and we had a big setback. Whatever it is for you, I really want you to think about, where we're at, because that will set the tone for Q4. Again, this is not to beat yourself up around not making progress. Let's say you're in the exact same spot as Q1. That is okay. As long as you take that information and you do something with it moving forward, because we are here to grow and I'm here to help you grow. But you got to step it up too in terms of taking action. And sometimes taking action means reaching out for help. Now, this is not a pitch to sell coaching. We obviously have spots on our roster available that goes for myself and my coaches, but that's not the point here. My point is that if you struggle to figure this out by yourself, you can always reach out to someone. It could be me, it could be my team, it could be any other coach, any other program, as long as you do something. Because if you are still stuck, that means you need help, and that is okay. But let's reflect, like which goals did you even set? And this is something you want to write down. Like write this down, right? Which goals did you set for yourself back in January, or maybe the start of Q1, 2, or 3, whatever. Whenever it was, what did you say you were going to do? Now, the next question is, did you reach that goal? Or are you at least moving towards that goal? Yes or no? Now we get a little bit confronting. Write this down. What was my effort like? Scale of 1 to 5, 1 being absolute worst, like no effort, 5 being absolute best. Hey, every single day I've been showing up. I'm putting in the work. What's your effort like? Notice how I'm not asking you, hey, how was your year so far, your months or whatever? Was it a shitty week? Like, no. The effort is what matters. There are things within your control, things outside of your control. What is within your control is the effort put towards making progress. And like I said, effort can also be, hey, I'm going to make a point of reaching out for help, of learning something I don't know about yet, of trying something new, etc. But what was my effort like? I said I had this huge goal. I told myself I wanted to reach this goal in 2024. It did or didn't happen, right? Or we're getting there maybe. But what was my effort like? No matter the outcome, what was your input like? Does your input reflect your goal? Does your effort reflect your goal? That big, ambitious goal that you set for yourself, did you actually do the work, yes or no? It's a very confronting question, but it's one that we have to ask ourselves. Now let's move forward, because I want you to celebrate your wins. And I want you to look into what's going well. So write this down. What's gone well? What are some wins? And I want you to think like this month, maybe this quarter, this year so far, like write down 3 to 5 things that you're stoked about, that you're like, hey, you know what? Like I killed it. And it doesn't have to be anything related to fat loss or muscle gain or nutrition or what, anything. Could be career, could be other big steps you took in life, like things you achieved. Like what are you really fucking proud of? Because I think that is going to feed into that momentum. Like we want to point out what's going well. We want to sit with that a little bit and acknowledge like, hey, actually, you know what? No matter how this year has gone so far, these are some positive things that I can give myself credit for. Because here's the thing. If we are trying to move forward, that positive momentum will allow you to move forward. If we stop ourselves and we can only look back at the things we fucked up, the things that didn't go as planned, the results we didn't get, if we stick with that and we sit with that and we only look backwards at the things we don't have, etc., right? Or didn't do, whatever it is, or didn't achieve, if we do that, we literally hold ourselves back from creating that positive momentum that we need to move forward. What's happened, happened. You cannot change the past. You cannot even change the future. You can only change what you do right now, today, this week, which of course moves into upcoming month, quarter, etc. Point out what's positive. You need that positive momentum. And I don't want you to write down, hey, this went well, but I kind of fucked this up. No, just give yourself that credit. You deserve it. You work fucking hard. I notice I'm swearing a lot today. I'll try to keep it down. I'm just fired up today. That's what happens when I'm excited, But no, all joking aside, like let's not get too caught up in like not giving ourselves that credit either, because I know we're not good at this, and this is me saying this from a place of understanding, because I'm like that too. I don't do good enough of a job of giving myself credit for everything I achieve, which has been a lot. I've had a lot of setbacks pretty recently too. However, that doesn't take away that I can still make a certain effort, and I can still find certain things that I can point out. Hey, you know what? Like it was a tough time, but I still did a few things very well. These are some things I still achieved. I'm still working towards my goals. Give yourself that credit. And then, of course, moving forward, once we've acknowledged, hey, these things are going well, and this is stuff that we want to take into Q4. Now I want you to think of not about what's gone wrong or what you did not do well. I want you to look at, hey, what just needs some more work? Like what is maybe something that'll allow you to move forward even just 1% closer to whatever goal you set for yourself. If that means starting over in Q4, that's cool. But like what's something that will allow you to move towards that goal? So think about like the things we need to do to get there. You know what I mean? So if you have maybe more knowledge around things like macros or, some things could be pretty general. Hey, increasing protein intake, starting to track, and maybe eating, right, more fruits and veggies, or increasing my fiber, or getting to the gym, whatever it is. What needs to be improving over the next few months? Now we're going to get specific too, though, and get into the how. So if you give yourself maybe like 1, 2, or 3 things that hey, this needs work. I'm aware that my fiber intake is too low. I'm aware that my protein intake is too low. I have not been lifting weights. Okay, now we have a few things. I'm going to stick with that for a bit because it's easier to kind of give you an example. We have 3 things now. Next question is, how will I make that happen? Like, what is something specific, actionable that I can do on a daily, weekly basis that will allow me to work towards creating those habits that will eventually turn into the outcomes that we want, the fat loss, the muscle gain, etc. So think about this too. Fiber, for example. What are some actions you can take? And of course, we can think big picture. We can think, today, right? We can break it down all the way to like a daily thing. But let's think, okay, so we need to start looking for high fiber foods. We're likely going to have to increase our fruit and vegetable intake. Let's say 3 times fruits per day, 3 times veggies per day. And I'm talking like a fist-sized portion, maybe including high fiber foods. Hey, I'm going to look into, by the way, we have a blog about this, right? How to hit 30 to 40 grams of fiber per day. Is it protein? Okay, are we not tracking? Are we not used to eating more protein? Do we not know how to get it up? Do we not know what to eat? Is it a food choices thing? Do we need more variety? Like, what's something actionable we can do in the short term, but also something that we want to keep up that will allow us to get that protein up? And by the way, if you're way low on that, like, you don't have to like make a huge change from one day to the next. You don't have to go from like 50 grams to 150. in one day. Now let's go 50 to 70, 90, etc. And then just bring it up over time, because if you do that in small steps, it's going to be way more doable. And then once you hit whatever that 1.82 grams per kilo of body weight or goal weight is for you, it's going to be way easier to get to that point. But what specifically do you need to do? How will you make that happen? How will you get your protein up, your fiber? And when it comes to those workouts that we said as a third example, okay, something would be, okay, so in October, I'm going to sign up to the local gym. I'm going to get a workout program, right? And by the way, too, like, we can do this for you. We have nutrition and training. You can also go online, find a great program, whatever you want to do, get a PT, get a workout program, get on a resistance training program, so you can start, have something to hold yourself accountable to. And of course, with the coach, it's going to be even a higher level of accountability. But again, make it actionable. And I could literally just be, hey, this week, I'm going to look up gyms in my area that I would like to try out. Do a drop-in. Usually you can do a free drop-in. And sometimes when you sign up with a gym, you can even get a free PT session, right? What are some goals that we can set for ourselves? Maybe we're already training. Maybe we want to work towards a heavier bench press, whatever it is. Okay, cool. So now we're likely going to have to include somewhat of a, heavy bench press type thing in our program. That's something we can hold ourselves accountable to. That's actionable because we have a program. We can see, did we do the thing? Did we get the reps? Did we get the RPE, right? Did we increase in weights? Yes or no, etc. So make it specific. And I want you to also zoom out, right? I'm really taking it like specific here, but what are some things that you would need help with? Next question is, what knowledge, skills, and or experience do I currently lack? And I don't want you to look at this from a not enoughness standpoint, if that's even a word, but I want you to look at this from a possibility lens, through a possibility lens, thinking of, hey, okay, so these are the things currently I just don't know how to do, or don't understand, or I haven't done it yet. I don't know where to begin. I don't have the skills yet. That is okay. We all have things that we're not good at, right? But like, what is that? So that we also know, hey, okay, so I don't understand this. This is something I've never done before. This is maybe a skill that I should get better at, etc. And then my next question, and again, write these down, right? So my next question is, who will I reach out to for help? Or what? It could be, right? It doesn't have to be a person, but I think like people are going to be great for you. That could be people at your gym or within your friend circle, your family, even people around you who've achieved the goals that who've already achieved the goals that you want to achieve, right? Think about those kind of people. You can think of a few people in your area, at your gym, within your circle of friends, whatever it may be. You can think of at least one person who's already achieved what you're after. Go to that person, ask them for help, for tips, for information. Hey, how did you do that, right? Reach out to us, right? Reach out to me via Instagram. Hey, I have a couple questions. Hey, how do you do this? Hey, by the way, like, I struggle with this. Like, how can I get a little bit better at that? Hey, I've never done a reverse diet. Like, what's like the best way to do that? Which, by the way, next week I want to talk about reverse dieting. Reach out for help. I can tell you this, like, every single time I got stuck over the course, since I started with coaching, right? And even in the past, when I went through my 20 kilo weight loss journey, 2012, like, it wasn't until I got help from my coach at the time that things really began to click, you see? So I want you to think about this too. It is okay to not know necessarily like how to move forward. It's okay not to understand everything. It's okay not to really feel like, hey, you know what? I feel like I can do this. I have the skills, the experience. All of that stuff you'll be able to gain through nutrition, training, and the mindset growth that comes with that. That'll feed into that self-belief, that confidence. Like, that's the stuff that really will fire you up. But I want you to know that it's going to take work. And it's not all just about taking action and do the thing. You just need more discipline. Like, no, like, everyone is at a different stage of change where you might not even be ready for change yet. You might not even realize, hey, I really, like, there's a few things that I really, should change. To give you an example, like when I used to smoke a lot, like this is like 12 years ago, smoked a lot of cigarettes. I had tried to quit before, but I never really wanted it. I didn't see it as a problem, up to a certain moment where I was like, hey, you know what? I gotta stop, right? It's getting out of hand. It's getting more and more, and it's not good for me. So it took that for me to realize. So think about that too. Right now, you might not know necessarily how to move forward. If you are stuck, then reach out for help. Could be someone in your direct environment, could be me, could be a different coach, but do something. If you've been struggling for 3 quarters in a row now and you're stuck on your own, you're just not there yet to do it on your own. And that is totally okay. That's literally why we do. That's why I started the Honesty Coaching Systems, to help people like you. On the other hand, if you've been killing it so far this year, congrats. Like, I'm stoked for you. I really mean that. I also don't want to assume here that everyone is struggling, because that's not the case. But based on actual research, we do know that most people do not reach their goals when they set a New Year's resolution. We're moving into Q4 now. So we got October, November, December. Periodization wise, where you want to be really depends. I can't just give a general, right? I don't know where you're at, but let's say maybe you want to lose some fat. Maybe November is still a great time for that. Maybe October, if you're ready for it, use those 2 months, right? Towards the end of November though, you want to make sure you move out of it, because we want to at least have a few steps towards the holidays, which is assuming that you want to really celebrate that, right? I think it's going to be healthy for people to not track during Christmas, not track during Thanksgiving, but more like go with a more principles, based approach, and also think, okay, what are we normally struggling with? Because we also know the holidays are usually an issue. A lot of people gain a bunch of weight. Not saying we should diet, not saying we should restrict or anything, but what's maybe something we can do to just go through it a little bit more in a sustainable, just healthy, balanced way, so we can enjoy that family meal. We can enjoy the snacks that our cousin or your aunt made, or whatever it is, your parents, right? Still practicing moderation too, of course. But we'll talk about Christmas and all that good stuff, as we get closer. But back to periodization. What do you think? Like, should we be dieting through October into November, late November, bring your calories up, do a reverse diet, or at least a few steps, it doesn't have to be super long. Do maintenance for at least for December. It really depends on your journey. But when you do it like that, and this is based off of like what I've seen with my clients, right? A lot of people have been cutting or started a cut in September. We do October. We kind of, October, November, like November kind of depends on the person. If they're based in the US, they have Thanksgiving. If they're over here, we usually just keep cutting towards the very end of November. And I do like to have maybe 2-3 weeks of bringing food up towards Christmas, because here's the thing. I want to get you to maintenance, and I want you to step away from tracking. I don't want you to track during Christmas. Now, there's going to be exceptions to the rule. I have a few clients who don't really celebrate that much, and they say, hey, you know what? We're just starting with my cut now. I'm pretty happy to cut, because in reality, like, I'm going to have like 2 celebrations and that's it. Cool. That's fine too. So you see, there's not one right answer. I'm just thinking, generally speaking, what we likely want to think about. And then last but not least, and this may be something to write down too, what do you think would be a good way to go about 2025? Damn, that's crazy to say. Like, I'm going to be 35 soon. So anyway, what do you think you want to get out of that year? If we think Q1, 2, 3, 4, right? What are we going to do? Do you mostly want to lose fat? Okay, maybe we're going to do mostly fat loss in Q1, maintain through Q2, or at least maybe reverse and maintain maybe a bit of muscle gain. If you have more to lose, let's cut in Q3, go back up and build in Q4. That's one example. Like, it's very general, of course, and I can help you with this. Again, you can reach out to me via Instagram, but think about that stuff. You don't have to get it exactly dialed right now. Think about real life events too, vacations, birthdays, all the good stuff, trips, whatever it may be, when it actually makes sense for you to cut, when it makes sense for you to go into a deficit or a surplus to build muscle, when you want to do a reverse diet, maintenance phases, when do you want to track, when do you not want to track, like when will you go on vacation and just take a step back. All great things to start and think about as we go into Q4 right now, but definitely for the new year. So this little reflection is going to be for Q4, obviously. And I want you to really think that. So let's recap. What were the goals you set? How much have you been moving towards those goals? What was your effort like? What has gone well, right? Again, give yourself that credit. And what needs more work to get a little closer towards those goals? How will you make that happen? What knowledge, skills, and experience do I currently lack that I need to improve on or gain? And of course, who will I reach out to? Those are the questions for today that I want you to go through. And then we set the intention for Q4. And we're going to make it count. It does not have to be perfect, but I want your effort to be high. Because if you want real results at last, you're going to have to stick with it also during the weeks where you're like, fuck, like I'm really, it's tough. And you know what? It will be tough sometimes. but there's going to be a lot of weeks where it's really, really cool. And that's what I want you to focus on the positive, on the amazing growth that you're going to see mentally, physically, right? You're going to be able to improve yourself in so many ways. It's such a cool experience. And I'm going to have to say this too, like a lot of those lessons and eye-opening moments will be further into the journey. So I want you to expect more work in the beginning. Sometimes we see faster results in the beginning too, so that's something to look forward to. But I want you to know, like the true growth, like that mindset stuff, it's going to take time. Creating new habits is going to take time. But as long as you stick with it, you will get to that point of growth, of reaching your fat loss, your muscle gain goals, being healthy. And last but not least, remember that if we've been struggling with nutrition, with fitness, with health for a decade or multiple decades, we do need to give ourselves some time to work through the things, right? At least more than a few weeks or months to reverse some damage, to get healthier and to reach those goals and to finally rewire the habits that so far have not really served us well. Cool? I'll be back with you next week to talk about reverse dieting. And of course, on Thursday, we have the bonus Q&A. Have a great week. Of course, anytime, DM me on Instagram and I'll talk to you there.